Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Podcast on Fifth Ave. It's one of those weird weeks where it feels like the Penguins haven't played in 5 years, but maybe that's a good thing because we got news in this past week that Tristan Jarry is going to be out week to week with a foot injury, broken bone, and that doesn't bode well for the team. I'm not really sure what that means for their playoff hopes and what that looks like in terms of chasing the Stanley Cup. But the few outings that Casey DeSmith has had, how many games have there been since Tristan Jarry got hurt? It feels like we're in this weird vortex of time. When was the last time Tristan Jarry played? Was that a week ago? When did that happen?
He got hurt against the Islanders, right? Who was it? Anders Lee. Mm-hmm. You think it's Anders Lee when he crashed into him? Was that Anders Lee?
Probably.
So yeah, the night they clinched a playoff spot. Jarry didn't talk or anything after that game, but I think it was Casey who said that when they did get back to the locker room after that game, you could tell he wasn't doing well. I feel like broken bones and feet, that's one of those things that a guy will sometimes finish the game, and then it's when they get back to the locker room after the game, take their skates off, that the foot starts swelling up and you realize that all is not okay. So it seems like that's what happened here.
Sadness. So much sadness, because that isn't good. They called Louis Domingue back up, obviously, so they have two options in net. But yeah, the way that the Pens looked in front of Casey DeSmith, and then Casey DeSmith's performance as well against Boston, like he kind of regained his bearings a little bit later into the game, but it was just too little too late at that point. So if week to week lower body injury, all of the terminology that hockey coaches use to describe injuries is so vague, and we have no idea what that really means. Casey DeSmith or Tristan Jarry could be out for the rest of the year. We don't know, because weeks could turn into months. If that is worst case scenario, what comes to be reality, without Tristan Jarry, what are the Penguins' chances for making a deep playoff run? Jenna, what do you think? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's a great question. And it's so wild to think again, like as we're going into the playoffs, all we're talking about is goaltending, because it feels like a little bit of deja vu where it's like, oh God, it's last year all over again. And things hinge on Casey DeSmith and his health. With broken feet, I think, quote unquote, the timeline usually is around 4 to 6 weeks. But again, it's one of those, you don't know. I've talked with a bunch of people in the hockey community, former players, all that. And, you sometimes are able to play through it and sometimes you can't. I don't think we're going to see that from Tristan Jarry. Realistically, I think that you are going to have to go with Casey DeSmith to start the preseason series, whoever you're playing against, whether it's the Rangers, whether it's Carolina, or whether it's Florida, because those are all very realistic possibilities for this team. And it's going to be intriguing, I think, to me, too, that how they kind of handled these last couple games, the workload, who, in terms of how many games do you play DeSmith versus how many games does Domingue get in? Because realistically, for me, I feel like you got to get Domingue in at least 2 of the last 5, right? Or am I crazy by saying
that? There is a back-to-back, Detroit and then Philly, so you'll figure they'll split them, but then, one of the other 3, you'd like to see Domingue just get in to see what you have in him, because he has only played the one game up here, and he was, incredible in that game. What was that, San Jose? It was on that, the Western trip, and then, he's been solid literally, like, all year in Wilkes-Barre. He really has only had maybe, like, 1 or 2 kind of rough games. So I don't know, but Sullivan was asked after practice on Wednesday, just kind of about like, what are you looking to see from Casey if he is the guy to start game 1? And Sullivan did say, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We have 5 games left in the regular season. Tristan's going through a rehab process right now. His status is week to week, but they're not sure what the picture will look like, and they're trying to take each day as it comes, make decisions accordingly, all that. So it sounds like they're not ruling out like Tristan coming back, even in time for game 1. So if that, I don't know, that sounds like maybe we see him come back during the playoffs, but again, it might not be for game 1, but I don't know. I feel like all in January, we were talking about, like if Tristan goes down, that's the season, because Casey was, really struggling. And when Casey started to kind of find his game again, we're like, well, maybe, they're not so bad off with the backup goaltending. But then I don't know, now that it is a reality and they're going to be without Tristan for some time here, I don't have a ton of confidence in Casey DeSmith if he is going to be the guy. I mean, again, he did just play that game in Boston. He did have the two first goals were rough. Like his rebound control, he just didn't look great. And he did, recover and he was fine the rest of the game. But, that really doesn't offset the two really bad goals to start the game that, they weren't able to come back from.
No.
Yeah, it was not ideal at all. And so even the way that the team kind of performed in front of him at first was just looking it didn't look like they felt confident in what was going on. So that also kind of begs the question, if a goalie is in net and the team has a bunch of question marks around the goalie, like, are they going to be able to do this? Are we confident in their ability? Does that affect the way that they play in front of that goaltender? Taylor, what kind of ripple effect does that have on the team as a whole when the goaltender has kind of struggled on and off all season?
I don't know so much of it's a confidence thing, but goalies do just have different kind of styles, and that does affect how they play. Like if a goaltender is, stronger playing the puck or tends to play the puck more often, that is going to affect, what the defense does. And, Jarry does tend to play the puck more than DeSmith. So I don't know if that's something, that plays a role here. And some goalies are, more vocal when, they're in their end. So that's something, it's not I don't know how much of it you can attribute it to, we don't have confidence in this guy, so we need to play, a tighter defensive game. It's not like they're ever going to tell us that. Like, we don't think Casey DeSmith is very good. So, like, they're not going to say that. Everyone says they have full confidence in him. So it's hard to tell, but I would say style and, just, if a goalie is, talkative, that kind of stuff, does definitely affect what the team in front of him does.
Yeah. Which makes sense for sure.
And you hear it from the guys too, like Taylor mentioned, you're hearing from them, they're confident in him. I mean, I feel like every single guy, the last couple of days that we've talked to since Jarry went down with his injury has said some semblance of the same thing, where basically it's like, oh no, we have full confidence in him. We need to play our best game in front of him. And so I think if anything, it creates that type of ripple effect where it's like, okay, we know he's not the main guy and everybody thought it was going to be Jarry, but he's a capable goalie. We believe in him. We're going to show with our play as well. We're not going to put him in situations where he has to make an incredible save in, the first opening minutes of the game against Boston. And so they don't find themselves down 2-0. Because the reality of that is if that were to happen in a playoff game against any of those three teams that we talked about, you're pretty much toast at that point.
Yeah. Oh my God. Absolutely. And so for a little bit, let's just talk about the playoff picture. For a little bit, it was looking like Pens and Rangers was just inevitable. Like it was going to be those two teams collision course in the first round. But after Washington won in Colorado, it's looking like, oh, this is a toss-up. We have no idea what that first round is going to look like. So where do things stand at the moment? If the playoffs were to start right now, who would the Pens go up against? What's going on?
Let me see. I got
the standings.
Okay,
If the playoffs started at this exact moment today, they're playing the Rangers because they're in that 2 spot. The Rangers in the 2 spot, Penguins are in the 3 spot. However, we're recording this on Wednesday. The Capitals play Wednesday. So depending on what happens there, if the Capitals win, I don't know how it would be if they get a point because I don't know where the tiebreaker falls in. Basically, the Capitals have 96 points. So in theory, if they even get a point on Wednesday, there's going to be some shaking up. And all of a sudden, the Penguins can drop into one of those wildcard spots. Now, right now, they would be behind Boston. Boston's at 99. So that makes Thursday's game against the Bruins basically it's going to shape a lot of how the playoffs work, because again, if you beat Boston, you'll in theory have more points, obviously, but basically you're getting those points and you're also denying them those points. So Thursday in itself is a must win. But yeah, I think the three teams that they could play, it's either going to be potentially the Rangers, Carolina, because those two teams are tied with 106 points at 1 and 2. And then if you drop to that wild card spot, you could end up playing Florida.
Okay.
Yeah. So those
crazy.
are those are the
Everything's on the table.
Who do you want in that scenario? Like what the lesser of all evils? I don't even know.
None of them.
The goalie situation, it also blows for like the minor league teams, because they're both Wheeling's in the playoffs. Wilkes-Barre's about to clinch, and everyone lost their number one as a result. I mean, because Louis is Wilkes-Barre's number one. He's up. Tommy Napier takes over as the starter. He just had a shutout in his first game. His last game since then. So I don't know. And then Wilkes-Barre calls up Dorio from Wheeling as a result. Wilkes-Barre's in the playoffs for the first time in 3 years. Wheeling is in the playoffs for the first time in 6 years. So this is a big year for the organization. So just the trickle-down effect of, Jarry having a broken bone in his foot really, sucks for the rest of the two teams. But they did just bring over Blomqvist, their, top goalie prospect, probably their top prospect overall from Finland, because his season ended. They got knocked out in the first round over there. He had a .950 save percentage and a 1.1 goals against average in all 7 games.
Wow.
Yeah, and they lost with that. So that gives you an indication of how much help he was getting in front of him. But he did come over. So that should provide some support for Wilkes-Barre for now. But just the crazy stuff with goalies, and at the worst time of year for this to be happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely not ideal, but hopefully for the whole organization's sake, things work out. We'll see what happens. Why don't we take a quick break and we'll be right back. And we are back. So the Penguins announced on Tuesday that they were partnering with Highmark as their first ever jersey patch partner, which was news to me that was a thing, to have a jersey patch partner. So that is its own whatever. But they posted videos, pictures of what this is going to look like. And it's just a nice little hearty Highmark Blue Cross, Blue Shield with the word underneath it on the right side of the jersey. What? First of all, ugly, in my opinion. It doesn't even look like it's in the right spot in the picture that they posted. It looks like it's just way too low. I have many other thoughts, but I'm just gonna open the floor because what?
Yeah, I mean, it stands out because it's blue.
Yes.
And I mean, they have the helmet stickers now. Their helmet sticker sponsor is Bold Penguin. Honestly, I'm not sure what they do, but it is black and yellow and it's penguin. So it you really don't notice it because it fits in. What was their sticker last year on the helmet? Was it Highmark?
PPG. Wasn't it PPG?
It was, okay, that's it. Now I remember. It was PPG, but it was blue on the black, and people complained. So then they did change it to a different color. Now they do wear PPG on the road helmets, and it is blue. But yeah, on the black, they did end up changing the color. So, they can do stuff like that to not make it stand out. But this one, yeah, it's the blue Highmark. I don't think you can change the color given that it is Blue Cross, Blue Shield.
Yeah.
They can't
that seems pretty
make it white. But
they could. You're right. I like that.
Yeah, but it does kind of stand out. Now, this isn't a new concept in the NHL. They're the third team to announce one. And the Highmark is only the home jersey sponsor. They're going to have a road one. They haven't announced it yet. So there are going to be different sponsors, but yeah, we don't know who the road one is going to be, but I don't know. I fans aren't going to like it, but Honestly, I don't care.
I tweeted because I'm like, this reminds me exactly, again, all the quote unquote hoopla that happened when they announced the PPG thing on the helmet. Because realistically, I feel like I didn't notice it after like a month. I'm just like, okay,
it goes away.
It's there, sure.
Yep.
And I understand. I do get fans, wanting things to be classic and wanting the jersey to have that fresh, clean look. And when you see something new, like a patch that doesn't entirely feel like it's in the right spot, you're like, okay, this is a little but I think this will just be one of the things too that just eventually will fade. Also, I feel like we have to remember this was a league that for like a year and a half didn't have full capacity in stadiums and in arenas. And that's what they rely on for their revenue.
Yeah.
And they didn't have to cut costs. They found other ways to make things work, but you lost a lot of money. And if this is a way that you're going to be able to make some of that money back, and hey, potentially if this goes really well and all the teams do it and you have these little logos that, again, you're probably not going to notice after a couple months, there could be something too that's like, maybe this will help increase the salary cap. I don't know. Just so, I mean, I understand the whole, I want my jerseys to be classic. I feel like they're still probably going to sell normal jerseys without the patches.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I see people keep bringing up, that I don't want to walk around wearing this, but like ads on jerseys is not a new concept in hockey, like at all. The PHF and NWHL, they have like Duncan on theirs, but the ones you buy do not have the Duncan logo. Minor league teams, AHL, ECHL, they do have, small ads. The ones you buy do not have them. Even the ones in Europe that look like NASCAR jerseys, the ones the fans buy do not have the ads. Like, they're not going to sell you a Highmark, unless you buy a game worn, which in that case, the Highmark patch marks it clearly as a game worn for everyone to see. Kind of cool in that way. But and then, people were like, oh, this is, one patch now, but it's a slippery slope to, looking like the European jerseys. But people say that, and like my rebuttal, I don't know, I was going back and forth with people on Twitter, was that like the AHL is a league that does not, so like the NHL very gate driven, but they do have, TV contracts, national TV contracts, not like the NBA, NFL, but they still get a big portion of their money from that. The AHL does not really have the TV contracts like at all. They rely a whole lot more on these kind of like other revenue sources. They still have not gone beyond like one patch in forever. And again, there's stuff you don't even notice. Like, I had to think the other day of like, hold on, what is Wilkes-Barre's patch? Because I couldn't remember what, and they have it too on the chest. Other teams, they do put it on the shoulder, where maybe, I guess if you put it on the shoulder, it's a little bit less obtrusive. That's what a couple teams do, like the Hershey Bears, they have like their Highmark one, something like that. But I don't know. I guess there's ways to make it less obtrusive, but then again, you're not going to notice it in a couple games.
Yeah, it'll blend in eventually, but it is jarring to see it when you're not used to it. All of a sudden, it's there, and they'll figure it out, because they did even modify that PPG logo on the helmet, so they'll figure it out, and it will potentially increase money.
What do we want to see is the road jersey company that sponsors. You figure it's going to be something local.
Everybody in my Twitter mentions was rooting for Permanis, which honestly, that would kind of be great. I've kind of supposed that.
I saw a lot of photoshops. My favorite one was from like Ben Stonium, and he put like Southside Burgers. Do you guys know the Southside Burgers story? Oh, yes. It was like, so there was a Burger King on the South Side, but they lost like their franchise license. So they weren't getting, the stuff from Burger King, like the materials and all, but they were still operating as if they were a Burger King. I don't know how this slipped by like Burger King corporate, but they were still open. But then, so people are going through the drive-thru, and they're getting just like people are seeing, Burger King employees like at like Giant Eagle, like buying burgers and stuff like that to, make in the store, and they're selling them. and passing them off in like just brown paper bags and like unmarked cups and stuff like that. And it went on for a while before they got reported to Burger King, and Burger King was like, hold up, that's not supposed to be a Burger King.
Classic.
But so there's a fake Burger King on the South Side, so people call it like Southside Burgers, but like it like the Burger King logo. So I saw that as a sponsor, patch, Southside Burgers. I think it is a Burger King now. Like they got like their franchise.
Oh, good for them.
I think it actually is a Burger King, but I don't know, something like that. And yeah, Heinz would be cool.
Yeah. I think everybody too, I just keep going through my Twitter comments on this because I basically tweeted, I'm like, you're not going to notice. And of course, everybody was up in arms. They're like, yeah, we are. Like, this is going to become the German league. It's like the NHL is not going to do that. Do people not realize how much people, especially lifelong NHLers, despise change? Like, I completely understand the frustration with this. I just don't. This is the National Hockey League. This isn't going to become here's, Highmark, UPMC, Southside. It's not. It's just not. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's not. I believe the NHL already said like they're not going to make this a thing and like progress beyond this one, patch. This one patch. It's like a 3-year deal the Penguins announced. And again, they aren't the only team to do it. I feel like you might see more blowback if it's like a team like the Canadians who, have had the same jersey for the longest time and like do not change. But I don't know. Yeah, if it gets them, the Penguins are going to be up against the cap. If this increases hockey-related revenue enough to, move because they're not going to bump the cap up until they recoup the losses from COVID. If this helps them get there any faster, that's a good thing. Like, would you rather have Brian Rust or would you rather have, no patches?
Somebody else. Yeah.
No patches on your jersey. I don't know.
Yeah. Basically, you get to pick one. Brian Rust with his patches.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah. Those are the options, but people will get over it. They'll survive and they will completely blend in after a certain point. Why don't we take one more break and we'll be right back. All right, we're back. We have some exciting developments on the women's hockey front. First of all, the Penguins announced today that they named Amanda Kessel as the first participant in the new Penguins executive management program. I don't really know what that means, so maybe you can enlighten me and everybody else. What exactly does that mean, and what does that entail, and why is that so exciting?
Yeah, so it's a new program that the Penguins are starting, kind of spearheaded by David Morehouse, the president and CEO. It's going to provide an opportunity for athletes like Amanda Kessel. They are focusing specifically on female and minority athletes. I don't know if they're going to be the only ones ever benefiting from this, but that's the idea. A 1-year opportunity to work with the Penguins executives and different departments like marketing, the front, like hockey operations, stuff like that, and really get experience, get their foot in the door to hopefully one day become full-time employees, whether it be with the Penguins or another league, and just kind of grow the game and get more diverse faces in the game, because you look at like hockey operations staff, we are starting to see more and more. But women and non-white people in the game. But right now it's still very much dominated by the same people, what people call like a recycling program. Whenever a GM gets canned, like they just kind of reuse the same one. So this is something aimed at getting more people in the door. And Amanda, she did say Wednesday that, coming out of college, she was thinking about her career after, hockey, but she really didn't see opportunities for her, because we're talking like almost, 10 years ago when there were so few women in these, no women in these kinds of roles, like assistant GMs and stuff like that. So this is that, get them the experience. And if for girls and younger women, they can now see people that look like them in those kinds of positions and grow the game even more from there.
Mm-hmm. For sure. That's super exciting. And the fact that the Penguins are doing something like that and inviting people into it to grow the sport and open it up open doors up to people who might be kind of on the fringes of it, so that it isn't just recycled people all the time. That is incredibly exciting. And she spoke today, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's
Wednesday, yes.
Hearing from her too, because again, kind of with what Taylor said, she said when she was younger, she didn't entirely think that this could be an opportunity for her because there weren't women in those positions. So she said, I'm one of the first ones. And at the end of the day, I'd love to potentially be an assistant GM, a GM, some sort of, very front office, high up in a hockey organization. But she's paving the way for the younger generation. So, you have younger girls who see, oh my gosh, Amanda Kessel's there. She's doing this. I can do this. I can dream that way. And that's what this is really all about. I think that's just such a great opportunity too. I mean, you look at how I look at the Steelers, I look at the Penguins, just how they're at the forefront of these types of things where they want to bring in diverse candidates. They want to make, this sport accessible for people it hasn't been accessible to in the past and give them the opportunity, especially for her too. I think what's going to be intriguing about this program is she gets to kind of try a bunch of different things, which I feel like was like lessons that we all learned, try when you're taking internships, try every avenue of what you want to do because, hey, I might really like this, or, oh, I'm not sure how I feel about this. Oh, but I really didn't like this part of it, but I liked this part. And I think for her, this is just such a cool opportunity to kind of start, paving the way, not only for her future, but for the next generation of women in hockey, minorities in hockey, things on those lines, people that want to get involved in this more.
Yeah, the line she said is, if you can see it, you can be it, which means, if little girls see girls like her. She did say, Cami Granado and Emily Castengay are assistant GMs with the Canucks now. So she said women like them too, that, girls can look up to them and try to do it. But yeah, they can rotate through like different departments. So, like you said, marketing, hockey ops, all the kind of business sides of things. Which, yeah, again, she said she wants to be, a GM one day, but, something like this, she might get into a different avenue. I don't know. I started, I was like a video intern, like video editing and stuff like that with the Caps. Before that, I did like game entertainment with a Orioles minor league affiliate, which is like organizing all the on-field stuff, like between innings and like how the Pirates have the pierogi races, that kind of thing. And like, I'm not doing that now like, at all. I'm not like editing video, filming video, but so yeah, you might get in, find something else you really like doing. But yeah, it's a cool program the Penguins have.
Yeah, that's very exciting. Another exciting thing, the PWHPA is forming a new women's league, and it seems kind of inevitable that they will come to Pittsburgh, probably. So if that's the case, who would we love to see join that Pittsburgh team? Because I'm sure there are quite a few names.
I mean, we were just talking like off air. So it's going to be a 6-team league, teams in the U.S. and Canada. It does seem inevitable that it's going to come to Pittsburgh, given what the PHF, NWHL, they've had a couple of games here before. That league is still playing. The PHF used to be the NWHL, they renamed. But they've had like exhibition games, the All-Star game here. The Canadian women's national teams, they had a joint training camp a couple years ago. The PWHPA did just have that game here last month and talked about, how great this would be as a market. So it feels like it's going to happen. It's only a matter of time, which I think would be great. We were just talking that Amanda Kessel taking a job in Pittsburgh leads me to believe that, because she's not retiring. She's not retiring. She did say that, she's thinking about her post-hockey career, but that's not happening yet. So she's going to still be playing while in this role with the Penguins. So it seems to me like Amanda Kessel is going to play for your Pittsburgh whatever the team is going to be. And I just think that'd be really cool, given that her brother, did play here. But I don't know. My dream would be Marie-Philippe Poulin. I feel like they're going to put a team like Montreal. If we're going to put teams in Canadian markets, Toronto already has a PHF team. Montreal seems like a logical thing. She's probably going to play for Montreal, not Pittsburgh, but you can hope.
Yeah. Marie, if you're listening, come to Pittsburgh. We will welcome you with open arms. You're more than welcome to join on the podcast. We're just
We have Southside burgers. We have Southside burgers if you like. be like
so
that.
many things to offer.
A lot of things going for you here.
Yeah.
I don't know. Forget poutine. We got fake Burger Kings in Pittsburgh, but yeah, I don't know.
What more could you ask for?
Hillary Knight also really seemed to like Pittsburgh when she was here. She tweeted about going to Permanis. I asked her about it after, and she said she liked it. She doesn't remember what she got, but she said she really liked, the food in the city and everything when she got here. But I don't know, so many, and the PWHPA is primarily, like the national team players that are in this organization. So I mean, there are big names all over that could be here. Not many Pittsburgh guys. I think maybe some RMU women are in the RMU alum are in the PWHPA. So that'd be cool to have them come home, especially with RMU getting its hockey program back.
Yeah.
Big things happening for women's hockey in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's super exciting. You just love to see it, and we'll keep you all posted as we find out more and more, hopefully, as things unfold. But it's awesome, and we're really looking forward to that. Thank you all for joining us on another episode. We drop new episodes every Thursday on literally every platform where you could listen to podcasts. We have video available as well on YouTube, so subscribe wherever it is you listen so that you know you are never missing an episode, and we will see you next week.